Oh my goodness gracious, I feel so much better today. My strep throat is grown. I've got the antibiotics I needed. Oh, I feel great. I hope you feel great as well. And hello, Courtney Rollins here, Life and Transitions Experts podcast host, back in good health. I'm not sure if you follow this podcast or watch on YouTube, but the last couple of days I've just been sick as a dog, and so thankful to my loving partner who's really helped me make sure that I got the supervision, the medical support, and even just companionship that I needed, which is very, very apropos for today's conversation. It is very similar because the conversation we're having today is talking about should, or having the conversation or thinking about whether or not you or loved ones should stay at home, particularly when you are a senior and you may be facing even more issues that come with living longer and aging. So let's go ahead and jump into that. So, folks, again, you may be facing, you come up here because the topic may be interesting. You staying home versus moving into a senior community. So there are so many options. The senior living industry, that's what it has become, has expanded immensely in the past decade to try to meet the needs of so many people who are just enjoying their senior their years and living, longer and wanting quality life, which is awesome. It's great. There are also a lot of factors that come into play when it comes to whether or not someone who's a senior wants to move into one of these communities that are available now, what type of community they may be moving into, or whether they decide to stay in their home. And sometimes these decisions can be emotional and difficult because most people are not necessarily moving into a space because they are just in good health, good shape, and just want to. Most people want to stay in their home that a lot of people will deem or call forever homes. So it can be very challenging, be very emotionally fraught situation. I highly recommend that if you are facing that, this is a great book by Ben Rayu, Paying for Long-Term Care, The Essential Guide for Understanding and Funding Senior Care. Great book to give you some really solid thoughts about the subject. And we're going to dig into some of that today. I actually pulled a lot of this, well, much of this from one of the chapters of that book. So you got to give a shout out to the source, of course. So one thing to think about is the cost of staying home. You got to think about the mortgage, the rents, all the other out-of-pocket expenses such as utilities, food, internet, home, all that stuff, maintenance of the yard, property taxes, entertainment. That has to be factored in when you're considering how much it costs to stay there versus a senior community. Also considering some of the modifications that may need to be done in case you do decide to stay there to make it accessible to you or to senior, such as installing a wheelchair ramp, which could range anywhere from $1,000 to maybe even upwards of $15,000 in certain parts of the country. You may also need to consider, some of the normal aspects of home ownership, such as like the HVAC giving out the roof, hot water heater, and things of that nature. So senior living is expensive. Senior living communities can range from $2,000, $3,000, $8,000, $10,000 a month. But living at home also may be expensive when you count those things that you may need to consider. So that's something to think about whether you decide to stay home or move into a senior community. Also, the quality of life. Quite often, as we get older, our social circles shrink, and we are social beings. We need interaction, we need connection, we need community, as well as autonomy, but we need a balance of both of those. And the senior community can often provide that because of the work that the way it's set up. It's a community. However, when you're staying at home, as long as you're thinking about ways that you're going to ensure that you continue to have social interaction or that you have that social support around you, that is so important at every stage of our life, particularly as we get older. So that's something to think about. Also, safety issues. As we get older, our motor skills do begin to decline often. And so the risk of falling plays a huge role in our life. So we need to make sure our home has all obstacles cleared out, any walking path, remove any obstacles such as throw rugs and slippery or places without adequate lighting. Let's see. sorry, I saw a little typo on one of my notes here. It may also be important to consider installing things like grab bars and non-slip mats in the bathroom. We got to consider these things. Such also fire prevention. Quite often, I know I have many times put pizza in the oven and completely forgot about it, and or things of that nature. And as we get older, sometimes our memory may be failing us at times, and those can be turned into very dangerous things if we're involved with cooking. Also, the move to the next next section is health monitoring. Now, if we are older, sometimes we have medication that we need to take, and we need to make sure we're taking it at the right time. We may forget. We may actually forget that we've already taken it and take double doses. And there are things that we can do at home that allow us to make sure we're doing it properly with either in-home care or other support. And of course, at a community, well, not of course, but many communities do provide this type of support. So it's just important to make sure you have some type of way of monitoring your health daily, or someone's monitoring your health. It can be it can be easier for declining health issues to go unnoticed if you're living at home, either by yourself or with another one who's aging in place. Excuse me, get my coffee in. But regardless of what you do, it's very important to think about this as you try to ensure the quality of your life and healthcare. Again, I'd highly recommend that you check out Paying for Long-Term Care by Ben Rayu. There's tons of resources that I've pulled from the book that are left in on my blog. So I definitely recommend you go click on the link so you can go there, or grab the book. Have a link there too for the book as well. But these are awesome resources. Highly recommend that you check it out. And thanks for chatting with me. This is Courtney Rollins. Oh, if you want free consultation, particularly in Durham, North Carolina, feel free to reach out to me at Estate Pro Service. We're connected to folks, the Life and Transition Experts brand is dedicated to helping families through these different transitions in their life, particularly when there's a home or stuff that needs to be dealt with. We can help with that. But even outside that scope, we'd love to provide as much support as possible. Helps me grow, helps me add more value to other folks, and hopefully folks like you. And it adds value to my life because it gives me purpose and meaning. So thank you so much for that opportunity. All right. This is Courtney Rollins, Rising Tides. It lifts all sails.